So is that what you're waiting for me to do, is come crawling back on my knees?
I've never said that.
I'm asking.
No, I've never
What are you
even...
waiting for? What do you want? You know what you want?
Well, I think I know what I want. We're gonna have to
What?
discuss this with Nancy.
Kody, I need to be able to come to you with something that I need, even if it's just a ladder, or even if it's just trying to figure out the sprinkler system.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday. It's April 24th, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you had a great weekend. Last week I did a bunch of research, so I didn't get as many videos out as I normally would, but we're back at it this week, and I have some news for you because while I am, and I hope you are, enjoying the spring and getting ready for outdoor weather and time with your family, other people are also getting ready for a new life with their families or without their families, because Meri Brown is on the move. And all of this began circulating over the weekend by a post on Reddit, on the TLC Sister Wives subreddit TLC Sister Wives. A fan posted a photograph of Kody and Meri spotted at a gas station with a moving truck, and that started all kinds of speculation about what is going on. Is Meri moving back to Arizona? Is Meri moving away from Arizona? Are Kody and Meri back together? Immediately, everyone started speculating that Meri was running back to Kody, but now it sounds like Meri is actually running away from Kody, because the house that she has currently been living in for the last several years hit the rental market today, and Meri appears to be moving back to Utah. So this is a new development. We were wondering if Meri was going to stick around in Flagstaff to see if she could get back together with her husband of 30 years, ex-husband of 30 years, 30 some years, but appears that for now, she's moving in a different direction. So let's dive into today's topic of Meri Brown's moving away, and she paid what for her rent, and Kody Brown on the move, or is he? Before we do get into today's topic, can you do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you've not yet subscribed by clicking on the subscribe button down below. If you want to get notified of any time I go live, make sure to click on the notification bell. And if you have something to say, leave a comment. And if you want to, share this video with your friends that love Sister Wives. Now, I also want to remind you that there's a large percentage of you that are still not subscribed to my channel. So make sure if you have not yet subscribed, you do that. That would be great. Let me tell you something. When I started covering Sister Wives, it was just sort of like I was in this phase where I was doing deep dives into religious sects, and the polygamous groups had always sort of piqued my interest. I had long stopped watching the show by the point that I started picking up covering them. And I kind of started covering them, I don't know, 2018 again, because I don't even know. I noticed that there was some weird things going on in the family, and I was like, well, this is interesting. And then I started learning more about, the cult, and I started getting contacts from all these different people, and it's just spiraled into this situation where a few years ago, I kind of had this feeling the family was going to fall apart, because on every episode, they were all like, if we don't stick to the family culture, everything is going to fall apart. And then suddenly their family culture did fall apart, but I don't think it was just because they moved to Flagstaff. And then we saw Christine leave the family with last season. She moved. Now she's engaged to be married, and she's probably already married. Who knows? And she's living with David Woolley. She just trolled Kody last week. And then Janelle announced her separation on the tell-all. And so we were like, whoa, that's 2 out of the 4. And then right after the tell-all aired, Meri posted this weird thing that was like, magazine posted something that was deceiving, and then suddenly they make a joint announcement that their marriage contract had been terminated. It sounded like so formal, cold, and indifferent. Now, on the tell-all, Meri also shared that Kody had told her like about a year ago, that year prior, that he didn't consider himself married, and that when she called on their anniversary, he asked her why she was calling on his anniversary, because they weren't together. And then she asked why they couldn't make an announcement publicly, and he said he didn't want to deal with the fallout. And so here we are. So over the weekend, they've announced their separation. Meri's posting all these cryptic stuff about life changing and how she seems like so unhappy. And then a fan spots her in Utah on the way from Flagstaff to Utah. And the Reddit post and the photograph that this fan posted ends up going all over the internet. And this is actually what the fan said. So I live right in the middle of Flagstaff in Utah, and the shortest route to and from is through my town. My husband just sent me a selfie of him at work with Kody and Meri. He said it looked like it was just the two of them, and they were in a moving truck heading towards Utah. Unfortunately, that seems to be the only info he was able to get. Wonder if they're moving some stuff up to the B&B, or maybe Meri is finally moving. And then she said, edit, I guess there were a couple of people with them, but my husband doesn't know who they were and if they were family or crew members. She posted a photograph, and then she said she took it down because she didn't feel comfortable. But by the time she posted the photograph, it's literally everywhere. Like, everyone's been posting this photograph. So they're spotted at a gas station. She says this is like the middle spot between Flagstaff and Utah, and like this is where people would stop, and my husband's ran into them, and they had a couple people with them, and they weren't sure if it was family or with crew. And then suddenly that morphed into, well, the film crew must have been with them. And I don't know if the film crew was with them, because she seemed pretty, she wasn't sure. So obviously then this morning I get a message from one of my followers who's like, Kady, I just saw this post on a fan page, and it was just like, I knew Meri would go running back to him. And it was the photograph of Meri and Kody basically at that gas station and looking happy. And then Meri's been posting all this stuff about all this change that's going on in her life, and how things are hard and difficult, and she wasn't expecting this, and how do you navigate change, and worthy up, my friends. So once all of this starts going on, I was like, well, let's figure things out. I told you guys, like, I told y'all like last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, that Meri opened up her own like production company, or I think it's called like Meri Brown Communications. And the address that she used for this new LLC, which she says is for like entertainment and acting and, you know, production stuff, media. I said that her address she was using was her bed and breakfast in Parowan, Utah. Then that company was formed in May of 2022. I also then noticed that when you search her name online, an address for the bed and breakfast comes up. So I was like, okay, maybe she's like literally transitioning and starting to move her things up to Utah from Flagstaff. And we know at this point that her mother had passed away. So Bonnie was running the B&B for Meri for a couple years after she had bought it. And then tragically, Bonnie passed away kind of unexpectedly. And then her friend Jen kind of took over in the interim and started working for her. And Meri stayed in Flagstaff. Meri, when she bought this, said she was never planning to move to Parowan, even though the family said that she would. Like, why would you buy this out of state? And now it seems like that's where she's going, because her house that she was previously renting is now available immediately. So what I did was I Googled the house that she had been staying in Flagstaff, and it hit the rental market this morning. And the current rent that there is being asked, I think, is like $5,800. Now, first off, I want to say that when Meri signed her rental agreement, I believe her at the time, the landlord was looking for a 2-year lease agreement. And I know for a fact that it was not this high. I think at the time she signed it, it was like either $4,500 or $4,800. I know it was less than $5,000 because I just remember that like she had mentioned that it was like only a little bit more than the previous house that she was in. And I remember Kody being like so annoyed at how high the rent was, and why did she need such a big house? But then the problem with Flagstaff, and I don't know if you spent any time at all looking at their rental market, but there's like, they hardly have anything on the market. And when it does, it goes super fast. And so it is really not uncommon for rent to go really high. Like even apartments are expensive. there's like, I was actually looking at like last week, and there was a house on the market, literally for rent. It had 1,500 square feet, mind you, and it was going for $4,000 a month in rent. Now, when I posted that her house is for rent and the rent is now $5,800, people were like, oh my gosh, no wonder she was spending that much. She wasn't spending that much, but it still is astronomical given the fact that you can own a house for less. The problem is it's hard to buy in Flagstaff because property prices are so expensive. So it's hard to get rentals, it's hard to buy. Flagstaff's just a hot commodity place, but the place is for rent. So it hit the market 20 hours ago, and it says that it's an unfurnished Flagstaff in-town property, 4 beautiful acres of old growth ponderosa directly across from the Colton House, close to downtown, peaceful natural forest setting, and easy trail access right out of the door, fabulous living and outdoor backyard, entertainment and cooking area. Single family or single renter lease only. Lease is not to be sublet or shared amongst multiple renters. Owner will cover up to $200 per month for utilities and garbage. No smoking, no pets. Owner reserves the right to cancel lease if there's damage to land or property beyond typical use. Lease is contingent upon renter upholding typical standards of living in a quiet neighborhood, including minimizing noise after 10 p.m. and not holding large gatherings or parties without permission from the owners. I remember when this went up for rent like a couple years ago, and I don't remember this stuff about canceling leases and large gatherings or parties without permission. So I don't know if Meri was holding large parties. I'm not sure, but I think that could also be added because this is a college town, so they probably don't want like college renters like having a max like parties, which is probably why like a single renter only or a family, because they don't want multiple people renting together that aren't the same, like that aren't part of a family, to avoid like the college party scene. This literally just hit the market, and it has like 4,000 square feet. I think it's like 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bath. You guys know the house. So the house is currently on the market for rent, not for sale, for rent, for $5,800 a month. And they're taking applications. And if you want to tour the house that Meri lived in, you can do it. Now, I think when Meri was actually living there, it came partially furnished, but now it's completely empty, and you'll have to move all your stuff in as well. So the rental market is wild right now. It's so hard for me to believe that someone is going to pay $6,000 a month, but this is Flagstaff, and Flagstaff has ridiculous rent prices. And so when Janelle is on the show saying, I can't find rentals, if you go there, there's like 2 pages of houses and that's it. And the houses are really expensive, and they're really either really small or there's some that are big, but it's hard to find anything. So they were not lying when they said it's hard to find rentals in Flagstaff and that it's expensive. Meri's on her way to Utah. So this sort of begs the question of, is she going to stay in Parowan for good? Is she going to move into the B&B? Someone in my comments was like, well, Meri was in her group last week of her LuLaRoe group, and she was telling everyone that she still lived in Flagstaff. And I thought, well, yeah, she does live in Flagstaff. She doesn't anymore. And if she's moving things from a home in a moving truck with Kody to Flagstaff to Utah, my guess is she's moving to Parowan. Then you add the fact that she just opened this production company and that it says that she is in Parowan, Utah. I think she's going to be in Parowan, Utah. I mean, honestly, I think her friend Jen came in to help her out, but I don't think Jen was planning on like working at the inn long term. Not to mention, I think Jen is actually was living in Oregon at the time. I don't know that she like was planning to move down and stay in Parowan forever to help Meri. I mean, they are best friends, so maybe she's like settled in there. Ultimately, the responsibility of this place falls on Meri, and if she's going to constantly have everyone else running the B&B while she just owns it, it would make more sense now that she's single to go where her business is and to go where her like inn is, and actually like maximize what she's doing and, you know, run it as a bed and breakfast as she'd always wanted to do, and do it on her own. So maybe that's what her plan is. Puts to an end the rumors that Kody's going to try to woo her back, because if she's not back in Flagstaff, he can't be like, Meri, can you come over? I want to get back together with you. Now, some fans don't believe that Meri's actually going to leave Kody and that it's really over, and that if Kody still came calling, that she would go running back. And I don't disagree with that, but it sounds like Meri has made the steps and made the changes, and all of these change posts and like somber messages that we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks were just Meri kind of like letting us know she's kind of sad that her life is changing. She's leaving Flagstaff. She really is closing the chapter, and the family is now two women, two of the wives that are now out of Flagstaff and two that are still there. Now, here's the weird thing is that when Christine wanted to move to Utah, Meri was all like, I don't ever want to move back to Utah. I will never live in Utah. And then as soon as Christine leaves and Kody dumped her, she's back in Utah. But she's not a polygamist anymore, so I guess she doesn't have to worry about those lies. She doesn't have to worry about the polygamy aspect of it because she's not a plural wife and she's not breaking the law anymore. So are you surprised to hear that Meri Brown has moved out of Flagstaff and is back in Utah? And do you think now that she's left this, is she going to try to split up the property with Kody? Are they going to put Coyote Pass on the market? Remember, they have the whole property, like Meri's parcel is owned outright. So she owns that with, I think she co-owns it with Janelle and with, I think Kody, Janelle, and Meri own a parcel outright. And then Janelle has a loan on a parcel with Kody. Kody has a loan with Robyn. Are they going to sell all of the property now? Is he going to divide up the assets? Is he going to pay Meri back? He owes Meri a lot of money. Is that why he was helping her move? Is he's like, well, maybe if I do this and I throw her a bone, she'll forget about the $300,000 that I owe her or whatever amount of money it is. But Meri's pocketbook is like, I'm closed now, Kody. You and Robyn are going to have to figure out what you're going to do. You might need to find another wife or some other sucker to suck money off of. So Meri is moving on. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.